Hello, my name is Marty Windle and welcome to the SBL Guru podcast. Now, this is another episode in our season, Strategy in Real Life, or SBL in Real Life, where we take the elements from the ACCA Strategic Business Leader Exam syllabus and try to apply them in real life organizations. So today what we're going to look at is the issue of cyber security and cyber attacks in the world's largest audit firms. So let me take you back to 2017. Deloitte, one of the big four audit firms, was the victim of a cyber attack which compromised the personal information of thousands of its employees and its clients. It also caused them to lose access to some of its data and systems. Now, this was an orchestrated attack carried out by a group of hackers known as CLOP. The way they got access to the Deloitte systems was by using a phishing email to trick an employee at Deloitte's into clicking on a malicious link. Once the employee clicked the link, the hackers could access the employee's computer and the firm's network. The hackers were able to steal the personal information of thousands of Deloitte employees, clients, including name, addresses, social security numbers, and dates of birth. They also stole financial information such as bank account numbers and also credit card numbers. So it's a major security breach for the organization. Now, the attack did cause some disruption to Deloitte's operations, and the firm had to take some of its systems offline and hire a third-party contractor to help in the recovery process. If we look at another large audit firm, which is called Mazars, they were also subject to a cyber attack. The attack also stole sensitive information from the firm's clients and was carried out by a group of hackers called Revil. Revil was their name. The hackers used exactly the same trick. They used a phishing email to trick an employee to click on a malicious link. So it's a very common way for hackers to gain access to a system. They send an email to somebody in the company, somebody clicks on a malicious link, and that gives them access to the company's systems and network. So what is the impact of these cyber attacks? It's a common question in the SBL exam where they look at risks and they ask you to assess the impact of the risks. So what would the impact be on these large audit firms of having a cyber attack on their business? The first thing to consider is potentially financial loss. They could be subject to fines or legal fees for failing to protect their information and failing to protect their data. In some cases, companies subject to a cyber attack have been forced to pay a ransom fee to gain access back to their systems. There is also reputational damage, a damage to the reputation of a large audit firm. This can lead to the loss of confidence of the clients. The clients no longer trust the firm to hold their information. It could also lead to a revenue loss as clients move to another company. There is also the operational disruption to the company. When you have to close down systems, take them offline while they are repaired, it's going to cause operational disruption to the company and to their systems. And they've also got to then hire a third-party contractor to help in recovery. This can mean that systems can be out for a number of days. Finally, there's also potentially fines from the regulator in the industry for failing to protect data. So how can a large audit firm protect themselves from this type of attack? And again, this is a sort of thing you're going to be asked about in your SBL examination. How can we prevent attacks from taking place? What are the actions or controls we can introduce to prevent large audit firms having cyber attacks? The first control you can introduce is to having clear policies and procedures in place in relation to cyber security. All large audit firms should have clear rules and guidelines for handling sensitive customer and employee information. It should cover areas such as data classification, encryption of data, access control, backup strategy, recovery strategy, incident reporting and incident response, and also compliance controls to check that any policy is being complied with. It's also important that these policies are regularly updated and reviewed to take into account any new cybersecurity threats so that policies and procedures can be updated. At Deloitte, they developed a global cybersecurity policy that defines its vision, its principles, its roles and responsibilities, its governance structure, its risk management approach, and reporting mechanisms. At Deloitte, they also conduct annual cybersecurity reviews to assess its compliance with the policy and to identify areas of improvement. So at Deloitte, they are following best practice in terms of regularly reviewing any new threats and changing the policy accordingly. Second thing is to have a strong cybersecurity management team in place. This cybersecurity team should be in place in all large audit firms, or indeed any audit firm, and their role is to oversee and coordinate all aspects of the cybersecurity strategy. Now, the team should be drawn from different parts of the organization, include experts in IT, of course, but also legal, risk, audit, and business people should be involved in that team. They should have clear roles and responsibilities and communicate effectively with all the stakeholders, both within and outside the organization. So if we look at PwC, one of the big four, they've established a global cybersecurity leadership team comprising of senior executives from various functions such as IT security, risk assurance, legal services, forensics, consulting, and business development. This team is responsible for setting the strategic direction of PwC's cybersecurity initiatives, overseeing the cybersecurity programs and projects across regions and lines of service, and managing major cybersecurity incidents and crises, engaging with clients, regulators, vendors, and industry associations. So they're trying to follow the best practice, having a strong team in place. And you can mention these ideas when you're in the exam if you're asked to talk about controls that should be in place to improve cyber security. Now, with this cybersecurity, technology is changing all the time. So there must be a system in place to assess and monitor cybersecurity risks. Systems should monitor not just internal risks, but external risks and try to measure their performance against industry standards and try to comply with best practice. For example, EY has developed a proprietary cybersecurity assessment tool called the EY Cyber Security Assessment Framework. It helps its clients to measure their cybersecurity maturity across 5 specific domains: strategy and governance, identify and access management, data protection, threat detection and response, and resilience. Now, it's also important that there are effective controls in place in the large audit firms. And these controls are important to prevent different types of cyber security attack. Now, these are all things you can maybe talk about in the exam or recommend in the exam. They include all your classic areas of control: your firewall, your antivirus software, your encryption, your authentication procedures, your authorization for different levels of access, but also simple things like patching of the software and having regular backup. These technical controls should be combined with regular training of employees, creating awareness policies and procedures, and appropriate governance. Now, if we look at one of the big 4 audit firms, KPMG, they've implemented a multi-layered security architecture that consists of perimeter, network, endpoint, and data. The perimeter protects the external boundaries from unauthorized access using firewalls, VPN, and proxy servers. The network layer secures internal communication and traffic using segmentation, encryption, intrusion detection and prevention systems. The endpoint layer safeguards devices and applications used by the firm's employees and clients using antivirus software, patch management and device management, and the data layer ensures firms' data confidentiality, integrity, and availability, again using encryption, access control, backup, and recovery. So they've got a very comprehensive cybersecurity system in place. So if you're in the exam, these are things you can talk about and examples you can talk about in the exam. Final level of cybersecurity we can talk about is realizing that you might not have all the answers, and it would be beneficial for you to engage external experts for independent assurance. So the Big Four, what they often do is they seek out cyber security experts or cyber security specialists. People like the white hat hacker, they can look at the company systems, try to penetrate the system, see if they can gain access to the system, and then report to the company on how to plug all the holes that they have found. So this is a really effective way to have an objective, independent assurance and independent review of company systems. Having these processes, these cybersecurity controls in place can help the Big Four audit firms or any large audit firm to gain a significant competitive advantage. So what we've been there is trying to take some of the elements of the SBL syllabus and apply them in the examination. That's what we want to try and do in the exam. So make sure you get those ideas and then try to use them in the examination, because these techniques can be applied in the SBL case study. If you are taking the SBL exam and you want extra support from me, please get in touch. I'll post a link in the description of this podcast.